Okay, so today I'll be unboxing the Aerocool V12XT. This is a touch LCD fan controller. So you can see right off the bat, it is a dual bay controller and it sits in two 5 1/4 inch bays. They have a finger here, and it's called a touch LCD fan controller. So this is a touchscreen LCD display that you see on the front. And you know what, why don't we just go ahead and work our way around the box and see if we can find out some more information. So other languages are on the sides, but English being apparently the most important to Aerocool. Oh, and look, they've even started the package open for me, so I can just rip off the plastic very easily without a knife. Okay, almost. I was doing really well there. Ah, there we go, yes. No knife. Success. Okay, so let's have a look at the features on the back. So you got a large LCD screen, 2 by 5 1/4 inch bays, which I already covered. Innovative touch LCD technology. Racer style fan controller design. So they've designed it to look kind of like a speedometer and then a tachometer, which is kind of cool if you're into that. Monitors and control 4 sets of temperature and fan speeds individually. The LCD backlight can be either on or off. You can switch between Celsius and Fahrenheit. I've actually seen this feature missing on fan controllers before, and it drives me crazy because everyone sets it to Fahrenheit by default, and in Canada we use Celsius. Overheating alarm temperature warning. Hard drive working display. Okay, so you can plug this into your hard drive LED header on your motherboard. Lock function provided to prevent careless mistouch. Oh, that's kind of neat. Okay, so why don't we get this opened up and have a look. Inside, the first thing we will find is the unit. Oh, and then, okay, good, there is some documentation. I thought there was 0 documentation inside, and I was going to freak out because then I would have nothing to talk about except what I already just talked about. So why don't we have a look at the documentation first. Number 1 is a user's manual. So this unfolds pretty good here. Oh, I did it again. Okay, so here, English. The fan controller is operated by a touch LCD screen. Okay, we got that much. Okay, you can browse fan speed. Select a fan of your choice from fan 1 to fan 4 to view the fan speed. So you just touch it on the fan speed. And then browsing temperatures, you can select a channel of your choice to view the temperature and the thermometer display. So you can choose either CPU, VGA, hard drive, or system, and then you'll get a temperature reading right here. Key lock and unlock, so you can unlock or lock it. Setting fan speed, okay, so you touch to unlock the LCD, touch fan 1 to see the RPM display, and then you touch the digits inside the pink square. I don't see a pink square. Huh, okay, well, you touch the digits inside the pink square, the digits begin to blink, and then you touch plus or minus to adjust the fan speed at 100 RPM intervals. Very cool. Okay, around the other side, and this is, okay, so it shows you basically how to change every aspect of this display's and touchscreen and fan controllers settings. Okay, so here is how to replace heat sensors. Or how to install the heat sensors, I guess. So you split the cables and then run them to wherever you want them to go. So you can see they've got the little temperature sensors here. And then you unplug the failed fan cable. Oh, replacing a fan cable. They're showing you how to replace failed cables. That can't happen that often. Okay, so why don't we have a look at the accessories that are included right off the bat here. And okay, everything seems to be mostly pre-attached to the unit, but why don't we have a look at what's in this baggie first. So the first thing we have are little adhesive strips. Okay. The next thing we have are what appear to be some extension cables. So we have 2 fan extension cables here. Okay, and then we have 2 temperature sensors. So these seem to be replacements. Yeah, so they've included instructions and replacements just in case the fan cables or temperature sensors here fail. Well, that's very helpful of them at any rate. They're covering all of their bases here. Then we have 8 installation screws that we can use to install this into 2 5 1/4 inch bays. And then why don't we have a look at this guy here. So it uses steel construction on the side. So I've seen too many that use like an aluminum sheet here that's not thick enough, but you can see this is not going to flex and bend because what can happen is while you're installing it, you might need to pinch them a little bit tight to get it into the front of the case, and then they don't go back into place, and it's hard to screw them in from the side. So they've thought of that, which is very helpful. And why don't we just uncoil all the cables that are plugged into the back of this guy, and then we can have a look at how long the cables are for one thing, because that's another big complaint that I've had about fan controllers in the past, is if the cables aren't long enough to reach something, then it's not very helpful at all, is it? Okay, so, oh, this is kind of neat. Okay, so while this fan controller doesn't use PWM technology, it just uses straight DC to control the fans, what they've done is they've made it so that the 3-pin cable goes out to a 4-pin compatible cable. So you can either plug a 3-pin fan or a 4-pin fan into this in order to get the most out of your compatibility for different fans. And I don't know what this does. This is interesting. So this is an RPM sensor that also includes another ground. So you could potentially plug a fan into here, and then you could take this out and plug it into an RPM sensor on your motherboard, but you've already got an RPM sensor on the fan controller. So it seems to be all about redundancy with this thing. It's got alarms for if your fans fail. You can plug it into your motherboard, so your motherboard can set off an alarm if your fan fails. This is all about system safety. And temp sensors. So these are, oh, you know what? I never showed you how long these cables were, did I? Okay, so the cables are about this long. That is all. Okay, and then for the temp sensors, these are actually hot glued in. Okay, but they should come off fairly easily if you really wanted to do that. So you've got the 4 temp sensors, and then you've got, see this red stripe down at the other end? That is the hard drive LED. So not only can you plug this into the hard drive LED header on the motherboard, then you can take your case hard drive LED and plug it into this one, so they'll both go off whenever you access your hard drive. Redundancy. There you go. So this thing is taking functions that you could have already done and doing them better, but then you also still have the old functionality. That's awesome, because I hate it when you plug in like a front panel, like a new front panel thing, and then what it does is it just makes the stuff that came with your case dead. Like if you plug in like a 5 1/4 inch. So the full SD card cut me off in the middle of my rant about how duplicated functionality on a front panel thing that you add to your system might render something else useless. Like if you buy something that has an eSATA port on the front and then you have to unplug the eSATA port on your case in order to make that one work is like pretty stupid. But this one makes sure that you don't run into that problem. So I've actually, in the time I've been off camera, plugged in a couple of fans, okay, into the back of the unit. So I plugged one in using their extension cable, and I plugged one in directly. So you can see the backlight from around the side of the PCB, and you can actually see the front display. So yeah, we're monitoring the RPM of fan number 1 right now. It's at 1700 and then 2600 RPM and then 1200 RPM. I'm not sure how completely accurate that is, but honestly, I don't think it really matters. Okay, I think it's unlocked right now, and I think I can adjust it. I don't know. I didn't read the instructions very carefully on how to adjust the fan speed, but one thing I did notice is that if you unplug it, oh, there's an alarm. There you go. There's your alarm. Anyway, thank you for checking out my unboxing today of the V12XT fan controller from Aerocool.